when we don't focus on the most important things, which is us, and like, God gives us dreams in our heart and things that we feel like drawn towards,
Yeah.
desires. So going towards that and then setting goals to get there and realizing like dreams aren't light. Dreams take a lot of work to get to. But
Mhm.
so going more into that, so like figuring out what does your rich life look like? If you were to design your rich life, like not everybody's rich life is like, having the best car or the best
Yeah.
home. Maybe your rich life is like being home with your kids while they're growing up, being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, rich is a
Or
very subjective term. It depends on the context. Not necessarily a big mansion or something.
yeah, or having a smaller, like paid off home so you could travel and see the world. So it really
Mhm.
depends on what is it that is going to be fulfilling for your life. But starting with like small habits of building
Mhm.
a budget and then sticking to that amount that you're going to use. And it's not what you spend, it's what you save. Cuz I mean there's people that like a custodian that made about $50,000 and he was able to retire at age like 40 or 45. But it was because he had saved so much of what he had versus like spending it.
Yeah. That requires a lot of discipline though, and I don't even. I certainly know. No, I don't have that. I see the new AEW wrestling figures come out, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm buying all of those, and yeah, to my chagrin. But you're right, and I think that's the part. One of the hardest parts. It's kind of like financial weight loss. Or like like if you had the discipline to go to the gym, you should have. It's the same kind of discipline to like. Maybe I shouldn't eat that donut. Maybe I shouldn't spend that money. Would you say there's a parallel there?
Oh, absolutely. But I think looking at like your going back to like your goal, like what is
Yeah.
it like you and your spouse want if you're with a spouse and having that goal together and like reminding yourself during the hard part, why are we doing this? And it's like starting with the end in mind.
Hmm.
So you and even like making like making a board and putting pictures on it of like this is what I want, this is why I'm sacrificing. But it also comes back to like, you can have this huge plan, but like small habits like
Hmm.
this is one small habit that I'm going to start with. Like, instead of eating at a restaurant at the beginning of the week, like on Monday when I'm tired and I come home, like I'm going to plan it for Friday when I stuck to my budget and, you know, didn't eat out Monday through Thursday. So that's like my reward. And maybe I'll
Yeah.
do fast food instead of like a actual sit down restaurant.
Something like that. Do you what do you say to folks that are listening to this and they're like, "Ugh, there's no way. That just sounds so overwhelming to try to do that." What would you say to someone that says that?
I think mindset is really important. And so when it comes to talking to people about finances, like 20% is knowledge and then 80% is um, like your habits,
Yeah.
like your behavior
So,
is what I'm trying to say, behavior.
yeah.
So, and like having even the thoughts that you think constantly, like if like every minute we think about 7 to 9 thoughts. And then over time, there's so many more thoughts that we're thinking. Um, but kind of like, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Or
That's great advice.
yeah, or how do you build a resort one block at a time?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so really like thinking about where you want to be, like instead of just where you are now and what you want now.
It's interesting too because you hear a lot of folks, usually people that aren't like scraping by, they're actually in some comfortable position. I hear,
Mm,
I hear the words manifest. Like I'm gonna manifest my dreams, but I think there's like you're saying, I always say like, yeah, you can manifest your dreams, but you gotta do work. You gotta put the work into it, and it's easy to sit like I could sit there and say, I want six pack abs again. I'm just gonna sit here and eat Cheetos until I get six pack abs. You're not. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen unless you put the work in. And it sounds like you said, 80% is that changing your behavior, those habits. And what do they say? It takes what a month? Was it 40 days to make a habit a routine or something, or to make something a habit?
yeah, I thought it was 30 days.
Maybe it's 30 days.
Yeah, but so another analogy I like to go back to is well, I want to give a quote, but either you can or you can't. Either way, you're right, is a quote that I use on my email by Henry Ford.
Nice.
And I go, not to say like I don't have my days when I'm like, I just can't. And like, I'm stuck in that mindset, but then getting back up and being like, okay, I can. But the analogy that I want to use is like a smoothie cup. Like after somebody is like done with a smoothie cup and they set it down in the sink, like it's completely covered in smoothie, right? It looks so dirty and stuff. But then you turn on the water, and even Dave Ramsey uses this analogy. So it's not my own. I can't take credit for it. But you turn on the water and it starts pouring in the smoothie cup. And then what happens?
Well, it starts to clean the smoothie cup if you.
Yeah, and before you know it, the more water that just keeps running into it, the cleaner it gets. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like what we do, those small daily habits that we start working on, eventually, like, filling yourself with, working on your goal, and then like taking time to like read, like personal development, like read books, and like all these little small things that we can do to help ourselves get closer to where we want to be. And then other times, I think people like we're entertaining ourselves too much. And, we no longer live in like an information age. We live in, it's like an attention. I don't know the right word for this, but it's
attention deficit age. I might be onto something there.
No, but it like, there's so much on our phones or on the TVs or advertisements that keep us like locked into being entertained. So it's almost like we have to like consciously try to unplug to make sure that we're not being so entertained, and we're like more in control of our lives.
Would you almost say it's like a distraction too? Like, just constantly being like this. It's like you're not focused on the actual things around you that are part of your life that affect you. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I know a lot of people are guilty of that, where I'll sit there and I'll get all upset about something that really doesn't affect me, like, and sometimes it's as silly as like an argument about a TV show or a movie or a character. And we're like, I can't believe that. I'm so upset about the Little Mermaid casting. She's not even a fish. They should have cast a mermaid. That kind of stuff. And then you realize that's silly. But instead, there's so much I could be doing that's pushing me towards my goals and helping me move forward to that. And sitting around eating Cheetos, arguing with people online is not the effective way. I like to tell when we would go, I'd take the kids out to recess. I always would use the term. Recently, I started using the term, all right, kids, it's time for us to go touch grass. And that's one of their terms. But it's like, close your Chromebooks, because so much of education is now on like using Chromebooks and technology, which I think is good. But just like, carbs are good to a point, not too many, it's like you can overdo everything. And sometimes you got to go touch grass. And I think that works for all of us. Catch full episodes of the Educators podcast every Thursday at 4 p.m. Real educators with the real issues in education. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, take care of yourself. Jeans passes for anyone who likes, shares, and comments on this video. Have a great week.